Welcome back into Freight Waves Now in the second hour, starting off with the carrier update presented by Uptake Thomas. Going to look at fuel prices here to start out, and it's not looking great when you start to see that blue line.
It's not, and so we have two things here. The first one is obviously the actual price per gallon averaged out nationwide that you're paying, and then the next one, which we'll see by the end of today, tomorrow, is the DOE. The problem we're running into, folks, is it looked like things were getting better, but recently we've had a surge of up to $5.08 per gallon, and there's concern because that DOE slider as well, rubber banding effect, basically. The DOE is always trying to keep up. So there's a very large fear in terms of, John Kingston writes a lot of great pieces on this, to where the fundamentals of why the diesel prices were going down did not quite make sense. And so the fact is that Europe is extremely thirsty right now, thirsty for all types of fuel, natural gas and diesel. And the risk runs that they'll just start putting diesel fuel in lieu of natural gas. And the fight for that barrel of crude becomes a lot trickier, which is not good for us because a lot of our agriculture, we're coming into agricultural harvesting season. There's a reason Oktoberfest exists, because you're basically deciding to brew a lot of the excess stuff. So there's concern here, and which way, it's a little early to tell. Labor Day is coming up, big travel season, but how this is going to impact everything is worth looking at.
Yeah, and what we've seen, me and Donnie talk about this daily, right? We saw this through July all the way into early August. We were trying, are we going to break through that $5 a gallon level on the retail price, that DTS inside Sonar? And we got right to it, and throughout August, you saw the rack price just skyrocket. We're talking 30, 40, 50 cents higher from where it bottomed in early August to where it is now. It's up over $4 a gallon again. Guess what? It's leading to that spread collapsed again to like 80-something cents per gallon when it was a $1.70 spread back in July. These retailers are going to react to those spreads changing so quickly. Guess what? That's why we're seeing this little bit of an uptick in our retail diesel prices.
I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to that great point you brought up, is the rack prices. Where does the station get their fuel? And when that's going up, and in the speculatory movements in the commodities, that's something a lot of people are sleeping on right now. They're just looking at this saying, oh, things will get better, but at the same time, pay attention to that, and then you're going to find out kind of, like you said, what we're going to be into. Because with those declining contract rates, and we'll kick it over to our next chart as well, just to look at it. We saw that it was $5, but in fact, folks, it's even worse depending upon where you live. Looking at the West Coast, still extremely hot, as well as parts of the Midwest and Northeast. When you're looking in the center here, we have basically arteries of, gas pipelines like Colonial and a bunch of others. And so understanding this also shows that when you and I are talking about that price going up, it's going to go up, but it's going to be felt at different levels.
Yeah, and then this map's great, especially when you start thinking about, hey, I've got the opportunity to take a load out of LA, or I've got one out of Dallas, and kind of this, which one might be better in the long run? And you start looking at rates, and if you think about it, especially on the spot market, they're inclusive of fuel. They've been declining. Fuel prices starting to go back up. Is LA worth going into when you're talking about diesel prices up over $6 a gallon? Still, even with the decline we've seen, or somewhere like a Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston area, where we're seeing diesel prices around that $4.50 to $4.75. How big of a factor is that going to play into some of these decisions?
I think it'll be something worth looking at, because you're going to have the conversations. You have them on the back end at the end of the week, at the end of the month, and you go, holy cow, it's too much. We have to make changes. So what those changes will be is what we're going to have to pay attention to in the next carrier update.
Awesome. Well, good stuff, Thomas. We'll be sure to check in with you one more time before the end of the show. Right now, we'll toss it back over to Anthony and Sid.